BJ Callaghan ahead of Saturday's afternoon match at Atlanta United. Coach, as always, if you wanted to start by sharing how training has gone this week and then what you expect to see from Atlanta on Saturday.
Yeah, it was a good week of training. The guys came in focused, had the opportunity to sort of, evaluate the game versus Chicago, a few things we needed to improve upon, and really turned our focus quickly to Atlanta, which I think is a really good team, a team that has a lot of attacking talent that can hurt you in many ways. And so a group that we've been focused on the whole week and preparing for.
Great, thanks. We'll start in the room and then go to Zoom. Claudio?
BJ, what was the atmosphere in the locker room after, obviously, very different from a big win like that against perhaps one of one of those defeats that would really hurt the team somehow emotionally, and also Atlanta, like you said, is a very dangerous team, even though the record doesn't say that. And what about the turf, playing in turf field well?
Yeah, I would say, we talk a lot about here in our environment, like, kind of never going above one notch above and one notch below, sort of the middle, and consistently trying to, stick to our process, stick to our standards, and trying to just continually learn and develop. With that said, the locker room was excited after the game, and that's normal, and you need those moments in the season, and so for us, they enjoyed that night. And we got back to work. You close that chapter or page and you move on. And our focus turned on how we can improve some of the things, how we can continue to reinforce some of the positive things, and how we can apply those things that we do well to an Atlanta team who's really good. I would say from Atlanta, yeah, I mean, maybe currently their form or their record is not where they want it to be, but that's not this is a long season. They have a really experienced manager who knows how to, I would say, navigate a long season. Experienced players, really good attacking players, an outstanding goalkeeper who's been a long time outstanding goalkeeper in Brad. So again, a team that we have to be really, we're going to have to play our best to get a result. The turf that you ask about I guess we're kind of getting used to it because I think we've played now three turf games in the last 3 away games, if I'm not mistaken. It's just part of what we have to do, and I don't. I think Atlanta has a really good surface. It's turf. We prefer to play on grass. I don't think that's a secret out of any soccer player, but there's also varying levels of turf, and I think Atlanta has a great stadium, great atmosphere, and I don't expect the surface to play any impact on how we want to play.
And the fact that you begin with Atlanta, that's that many games here at home and away all together, keeps your mind busy already in terms of how many changes you're going to have to do because of the schedule, or you're just going to go like it is, with the starters like you have, and what is the thought process on that one?
Yeah, no, it's an Eastern Conference opponent. As you can see in the table, the Eastern Conference is tight. Every game is important, and we're going to field the best lineup that we can field on Saturday, and after that game, we'll look at how we're going to handle the next game.
Yeah. One question. Nashville is right now the second best team, talking about if you play locally. You have 13 points, but if we check the other side of the coin, you just have 3 points as visiting something. Do you think that is because of the stadium? Do you think there is something missing in the team? What do you think about that?
I think first and foremost, when you look across the league, winning on the road is difficult, for sure. And the MLS as a whole across the globe, we have one of the largest home field advantages as a league in the country, and I think a lot of factors go into that. But at the same time, we're still a team that's commits to playing our way when we go away. We want to win and take 3 points every time we go away. That's our mentality, and it's going to continue to be our mentality, and I would expect it to not be any different when we go to Atlanta. With that being said, we love playing at home. We've got a great fan base. It gives us a ton of energy, and that's not lost on us how much of an impact the fans have for us here, and we make that same commitment. We want to put out a winning product. We want to put out a performance that is representative of the city every single time we go out there. And Geodis has been great to us this season. We continue to, our idea is to keep it going.
We'll go to the Zoom, starting with Ben, and go ahead and ask 2 questions if you have them, guys.
Yeah, BJ, obviously Jacob was huge against Chicago last weekend. I'm curious, and without giving away too much of what you want to do this coming weekend, but obviously when you go on the road, it feels like the home team is typically the team that wants to kind of be the protagonist and play a high line and be more aggressive. Do you see Jacob potentially having kind of another favorable matchup against Atlanta?
Yeah, I think Jacob's strengths are his ability to run behind the line, stress defenders, stress the back line. And I think that's something that's part of what we want to do consistently. And he's elite at that, at that. So, I think he's going to continue to play a big part in us moving forward, starting, with our most recent game coming up, which is Saturday.
And excuse me, I just wanted to ask, probably an unexpected question, but just do you have an update on Walker? Is he still kind of in the day-to-day concussion protocol? And then I wanted to also just touch on Julian Gaines and what his status is.
Yeah, again, Walker is status. When I say status quo, the same as every update I've given so far. No progress one way or the other. So he continues to be in concussion protocol. Julian Gaines is still working his way back. He has not joined full team training yet. So again, continuing through the rehab process.
Nick?
BJ, through Tim Matthews, your team is, your defensive core that is, has 5 goals and 8 assists. Would you say that's about right on par when hoping for the production, or is that exceeding expectations for the season in your system?
We love contributions from everybody. We continue to say everybody attacks and everybody defends. And I think, we're seeing a lot of players in the roster contribute in a lot of ways. And the defenders are doing that through assists. Defenders are doing that through goals. Defenders are doing that through goals on attacking set pieces. So yeah, pleasantly surprised. We haven't hid from the idea that we need to score 50 goals. That's something that we've been talking about from the day one of the 2025 season. And to do that, you're going to need contributions from everyone. And really pleased with the whole group and the goals and goal contributions that we're getting across the board.
And then also with the recent news of Mike Jacobs' new job title with the team, from a coach's perspective, with Mike Jacobs having the title of President of Soccer Operations, and helping your growth for the future of Nashville SC, do things kind of just stay status quo for the most part, or some stuff change going forward?
No, right now, first, I would publicly want to say congratulations to Mike. It's somebody who's been with the club from the beginning. When I had the opportunity to join Nashville, somebody I spoke to a lot about it and the vision, that John and Ian and Mike collaboratively have sort of set for the sporting side, was something that resonated and I believed in. Our relationship is extremely collaborative, working together in all facets of what happens with sort of the first team. So I expect, and I know because I've spoken to Mike, our relationship will continue to remain close and together, along with many others, we're going to continue to try to push this Nashville 2.0 vision to the highest level we can.
Go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, BJ, you score 7 goals in a game. That's something that obviously can really get a lot of attention from, I guess I know you talk a lot about how, you as a team are focused on what you're doing, your systems, but do you feel like you're starting to see at any point from opponents, just with the kind of start you've had, that teams are, any differences in how teams are approaching what you want to do?
Yeah, of course. I think there's nuances to every game. I think the beauty of our league right now is you're seeing so many different influences and styles from different teams. So each week is going to be a unique challenge for us, and finding ways that we can hurt the opponent using sort of the identity and the principles that we want to play with, and at the same time trying to not get hurt by the opponent, doing the same thing. And so coaching in this league, the players getting to play in this league is fun because each week poses different challenges. And we have to continue to execute. We've been happy with sort of the performances that we put in, and last Saturday a lot of things went right for us, but that's not the norm, nor should it become the expectation. It just a lot of things happen to go our way, but we're going to be focused on continuing to work our processes, the way we evaluate and prepare for each week.
And this game against Atlanta, I think was the first of 7 league games here in the month of May, and maybe I think 9 games total if you are able to advance to the U.S. Open Cup. I'm not totally sure, but how are you approaching this month with the guys, just in terms of knowing you're having to play a lot more games, especially now that so far you've only played weekend games, now having to play 2 games a week. What's that been like? Have you had any talks about how that's going to work and what the team needs to do to emphasize that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say we've discussed it as a organization and all the way down to having with the players. We're going to call on everybody. You're right. We're going to play 8 guaranteed games, 7 league games, 1 guaranteed Open Cup game, and then we're going to try to earn the opportunity to play a second Open Cup game, which would make 9 in the month, which is a lot. But for us, that's why we have the depth. We're going to rely on using a lot of players in this month. People are going to get their opportunities, and we know that that's a strength of our team and our roster. And we've had little moments across the early part of the season where guys have to step up with a sort of a next man up mentality, and that's going to be no different and probably more frequent as we tackle the month of May here.
All right, thanks, Coach.